Hi, I'm Emily Jane Jones. Brilliant. Thanks.
Ready?
Recording.
Okay. I'll begin. Hello and welcome to another Talking to the Actor. I actually forgot the name of the podcast in the early one, so I'm glad that that's down.
Yeah.
We're here with an actor. Hello, actor.
Hello,
Who are you?
I'm an actor.
You're an actor?
Yes.
What's your name, actor?
My name is Emily Jane Jones.
Yep.
And I'm an actor.
You are an actor.
I might be an actor.
You might be.
We'll find out.
Cool. How was your pie?
It was really great.
That
I
you-
loved the pie.
You completely forgot was part of
That I
the-
forgot. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yeah. It was fine. There was a lot of pie. There was a lot more pie than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You only get one chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Looking at the pie, I did feel like you may have forgot temporarily and just gone into the zone while spraying that pie. that was probably one of the biggest pies we've done.
We were chatting and I
Yeah.
was I stopped looking at it.
Yeah.
I was looking at you for chat and I looked down because
That
I'm
is
just
the
not
pie.
saying anything.
I was wiping it away and it just wasn't coming off. And I was like, no matter how much I wipe away, it's still there.
Nice. So you're Emily Jane Jones, actor
I am.
from the nice bit of Hull.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
One of the villages I remember, but like a village where they all speak like you.
I'm not from Hull.
Not from Hull, from
No.
Richmond.
Yes.
Which is outside Hull.
No, it's in North Yorkshire.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that not where Hull is?
No, Hull is in East Yorkshire. I went to university in Hull,
Right.
but it is a
Okay.
different place.
But you're from North Yorkshire, but you don't have the Yorkshire.
No, Richmond seems to be a little pocket of non-Yorkshire people.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Right.
Does it have fancy houses?
It does.
So it's like Southerners going, oh, we want to live further out of the city, let's go north. And
Yeah.
they sort of settled and made their own little village.
Potentially. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the first Richmond, though. It was there before the Richmond in London, so...
Did they? Is that a thing? Are they
Yes.
Is that like
Yes.
that sign? Welcome to Richmond, the first,
The first...
the
yeah,
only.
Yeah, because you've also got the Richmond in America, like Richmond, Virginia.
Yes.
And it's like, no. This is the first Richmond.
Also the cigarettes.
No.
No,
That is not from our Richmond.
they're not from your bit. Okay.
It's not the cigarettes nor the sausages
Mm.
are from that Richmond.
Mm. Apart from you, then, what is from that Richmond?
We have a lot of sheep
Okay.
and a lot of farmers.
Nice.
We have a castle that was built in the 1000s.
Nice.
And that's about it.
That's pretty good. A castle. Is
Yeah,
really-
the castle, yeah.
Is it still there? And
Yeah, you can go around it.
Have you been?
Not for a number of years. They used to do the fireworks there, but they don't anymore.
Okay.
It was good though.
Cool. Should we move on to the acting?
Yeah.
So, did you grow up in Richmond?
I did, yes.
Cool. How did you get into? You're quite an established actor. You have a fair bit of IMDb. You've done backstage work and acting work. Several showreels of
Yeah.
quite quality stuff, or well-looking
Thanks.
stuff that was
Have
good.
you looked at them properly?
Done my research, I feel.
Okay.
And you're in your mid-20s-ish,
Yep.
so you've done a lot of roles. Fair amount of acting.
Yes, I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah.
More than
Comparatively, I would
some,
say.
yeah.
Less than a
Yeah.
few, How did it all begin? You, Emily Jane Jones, actor from Richmond.
I started when I was a little kid in school, I think, as I think probably most people do. And it's what I wanted to do.
Was it always just something you wanted to do? You didn't have that epiphany moment. It was just, oh, I've always done it, always liked it.
No, it was always something I wanted to do. And it was also... There was a lot of things I thought I wanted to do and then realised I didn't want to do them. I just wanted to act like I was doing them.
Okay, like what?
Like being a Red Arrow pilot.
Okay.
I really wanted to be a Red Arrow, realised that I was scared of heights and didn't like planes, and I was just like, I would rather act like a Red Arrow.
Nice.
This sounds very similar to how I got into film. I like all the characters, but I don't want to be any of the characters.
Yeah.
But I want them to exist.
Fair.
I want to be around those characters. So make them up.
See?
I have a fear of heights.
Yeah.
I did a skydive for charity because someone told me if you do a skydive that cures your fear of heights. It does not fucking cure your fear of heights.
It doesn't, right?
It gives you post-traumatic stress disorder where you sometimes wake up remembering falling. Don't do it.
Did you? I won't do it. No.
No.
I won't. Did you film it?
There is a video of because it's me and an instructor, and there's my face. I go very, very white.
Do you?
Yes.
Did you scream?
No. I think the shark I was unable to speak because I was just falling.
Also, judging from the video, I'm not entirely sure you would be able to scream.
It's very
the amount of air in the face.
We were 5,000 feet.
So how long did it take for you to calm down?
There was a solid 30-40 seconds of falling, and then another minute or so of just gliding.
Was the gliding alright, or was that...
So you have a harness on you that is not particularly comfortable, and by no means am I a well-endowed male, but it's not. We will get to your acting, don't worry.
It's fine. I'm trying to have taken over and be like, tell me about your skydiving thing.
Once we've passed my jump,
it's fun.
Yeah, it pulled very hard on my bits. It's quite painful.
So none of it was enjoyable?
No.
Okay.
No, none of it. I wouldn't recommend it.
Did you afterwards?
Finally, it's fucking over.
Long drama.
Did you make some money out of it though for charity?
Yes, I made money for combat stress, which is for war veterans.
A bit of irony in there, isn't there?
Yes. I was very stressed out. I understood after that. It's like, I need to go to war.
I understand.
Don't need to be a soldier.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Okay, so you didn't want to be a Red Arrow.
No, I didn't want to be a Red Arrow.
What else did you sort of want to look like you were doing but not actually do?
I wanted to be a vet, but I didn't want to be a vet because I think a lot of kids want to be vets, but then you actually think about the act of being a vet, and it's a lot of sick animals and a lot of dying animals, and you're like, I don't actually want to do that. I want to do something where I get to be around animals that are happy, and so you act like a vet instead. So then I started doing just school plays and things, and I got to GCSE, and I took drama for GCSE, and then kind of realised I'm good at this, and people respond well, so I like it, and then just kept doing it, and took it to college, and took it to uni.
Nice. What sort of stuff were you doing that, I'm good at this, was it?
Like plays at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all stage work at the time. I didn't start doing anything for screen until uni time.
And what sort of plays were you doing? Was it because of the way you were getting the audience to react, or?
I did not there was school plays and things which were good, and then I also was part of a a Saturday drama club, and we did plays at the local theatre, and I guess when you start going for auditions and you're getting named characters and you're not in the chorus and you're kind of like, I can do this because people are casting me, and it was really fun, and I enjoyed it more than anything else that I was doing, I guess. So I was just like, yes, this is what I'm doing.
Okay. Any particular roles from that point you remember, I loved doing that? Or
I played a prostitute when I was 13.
Okay.
That's very Jodie Foster of you.
Yeah.
Was it Jodie Foster in Taxi? 13 you were a prostitute? Someone played a prostitute at 13 in Taxi. Yeah. Anyway.
It was in a musical. It was in a Beatles musical that we did.
Did they have... Wow, okay.
Was this in school or the Saturday Club?
It was in the Saturday Club.
Okay.
So it was put on for a paying audience at the theatre.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, how is that better?
Right. If it's at school, then the school has decided to cast a 13-year-old as a prostitute whilst in the school. If it's the Saturday Club, I assume you're acting with older people, and they're just putting on plays, generally for people that want to be actors, and there happens to be a character that is a 13-year-old who's a prostitute, and they've chosen to give you that role. Slightly different.
I don't think it's that much better. I think because it could be worse. It's still a Saturday Club.
Yeah.
Anyway, did you say carry on. You were a prostitute.
Yeah. So it was in a Beatles musical called Eleanor Rigby. And the character was very funny. I remember that she spent a lot of her time on stage being drunk and making lewd comments, and the audience were really responsive and they thought it was really funny, and I was kind of like, hey, this is going well, people like this. And
did you get the jokes at 13? Was there?
Not really. Maybe that was why it was funny. I got some of them, yeah. But I also wasn't, so I had to be drunk for most of that, and I don't know if that went well. I was 13, and I was like, oh my god.
Was there much youth drinking in the original Richmond at 13?
There probably was.
But you weren't.
But I was not involved in it for a while.
For a while?
Yeah, just think, no, Mum and Dad, what is drinking? I don't know. Just in case.
Okay.
Yeah.
So memorable. I can understand why that would be a memorable. So it was playing a 13-year-old drunk prostitute that really showed you, I'm in control. I can make this audience laugh.
Yeah.
This is a tragic situation where a young girl has gone off the rails, but I'm making it so funny. The audience is laughing with me.
Yes. I don't think it was ever tragic within the context of the play, though. I think it was always just funny. Maybe we should look back and question that play.
I am, yeah. I'm also questioning the song Eleanor Rigby. I need to go back and listen to it now and go, is this about 18?
Well, the musical was called... See, I don't really remember the play too well, because at the time I was really only focusing on what I was doing and my scenes. But it was called Eleanor Rigby, and I think one of the characters was called Eleanor Rigby, but they'd kind of used a lot of Beatles songs to create the plot, and there was a lot of different plots happening at once. I know there was a priest in it who...
Okay.
Yeah, that was about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so you did that.
It did that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you got your GCSE. You did your GCSE, GCSE, and that's where you were sort of like, I'm good at this. I want to feature in this kind of thing. Did you come out with high grades? I assume you did.
I think I got an A at my GCSE drama. I think. I don't remember. I got an A at A level.
Cool. Was it a school with a college or a sixth form?
They did have a sixth form, but I left and I went to a college instead.
Still in Richmond, or?
It was in Darlington.
Okay.
Because we all know where Darlington is.
I know Darlington.
Yeah, it's sort of there.
No, I've been there for football, soccer, way back in the day when I used to do the soccer.
Yeah.
Like Darlington was one of those teams you get in like the first round of a cup.
Yeah, that really good team.
Well, they were there.
Did you do a win against them?
I believe we did a loss.
Oh.
There was a strong streak of about 3-4 years where the Sheffield Wednesday would go to places like Darlington or Carlisle and just lose, and then it'd be like, oh, this can't get worse, and then it could.
It could. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so did you any reason for the switch to get out?
Yeah, it was just because I think staying at a sixth form where you've been since you were 11, you were still kind of treated in the same way as you were when you were a school student, and I wanted to be away from it, and I wanted to be like, I'm an adult, I'm in a different town, doing my own things, and I think it was better.
Were you popular in school or?
In school, I wasn't unpopular. I had a lot of friends, but they were all from different groups.
Yeah.
And some of them were the popular kids, and some of them were the drama kids, and I just I didn't really care. Like, I went home for lunch from like year 7. I went home. I was like, bye. I got my mum to like phone them and be like, Emily needs to come home, because I was just like, Mum, I don't want to be there. I think my attendance was like 60% at school.
Cool. So you hated...
I rarely went, yeah.
But it wasn't because of bullying, it was just...
No. It was just because I hated it.
Okay. Can you think why, looking back?
I don't know. I remember feeling that a lot of the stuff was inane and like it didn't matter. Like a lot of what was happening with students and being like, he likes me and I don't like it. I was just like, I don't care. And just all of the student drama that was happening and the things that people found interesting, I wasn't involved in it. I didn't care. So I went home for lunch. And then I came back again for my afternoon lessons and was like, hi. And everyone was like, Emily, where have you been? And I was like, don't care. Pretty much.
So, did you have friends?
I did. I did have friends. I did have friends, yes. I didn't go home for lunch every day. It was just when I wanted to. When I was like, I've had enough of you all, I'm going home. I've realised I've made this sound now. Like, I had no friends and everyone hated me. No, I did have friends.
You just didn't care about them. They weren't your friends. They were friends with you. You weren't friends with them. You were like, nah, screw you.
Kind of.
How did acting feed into that then?
What do you mean within school?
Yeah, like was it? Acting's like one of the things I actually enjoy in school, or was acting like an escapism kind of?
No, I think I did. I mean, there was things in school that I enjoyed. I enjoyed subject. Like, I enjoyed drama and I enjoyed English and history and everything like that. But I think there was a lot of the teachers that I didn't like, and a lot of the rules and things that I thought were stupid, and I didn't have a very good time with accepting those rules and people being like, why have you done this? Why? And I was just like, I'm going. I don't want to be part of it. For example, like my maths teacher sent me to the headmistress's office because I had blue eyeshadow on, and I missed the whole lesson of maths because I had blue eyeshadow on. And I was like, now I've missed more subject for something really stupid that doesn't matter. Like, if I'm not allowed to do that, that's fine, tell me that, but then you're making me miss an entire hour of this lesson just because you want to be more important. And I was just like... But at that point, you can't really argue with teachers, so I just didn't go.
Fair.
So instead of, like skipping lessons and people would turn up to school and then they'd go and skive off behind the bush shelter, I'd just not go in the morning. I did well though. I did well.
Yeah. Okay. Was Darlington any different with the...
Yeah, I went more.
Fair. Did you enjoy... Was it still rule-taking or...
A couple... Yeah, so the subjects where the teachers were a bit stricter and a bit more treating you like children, I tended not to go to. But that wasn't a lot. That tended to be just psychology. It was just the psychology teachers. Whereas the other subjects where I did drama and film studies and history, and I was good at those things, and so I think the teachers liked me and had a bit more respect, and they kind of gave you a bit more leeway with what you were doing, and it was a better environment, yeah.
Okay, so film studies, psychology...
Drama and history.
Did you do all four to A-level as well?
No, I wasn't allowed. I tried. And they were like, your attendance is too low, we're not letting you.
So you had to drop one?
So I dropped psychology, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so I did history, drama and film. And I think I got an A in film, an A in drama and a B in history.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. And any, like, from the point of view of acting, were you in, like, plays at your A-levels? Was it a different approach to GCSE?
Yeah, I didn't do anything. By that time, I'd stopped doing, like, after-school things, I think, just because it was too much. There was obviously a lot to do at A-level, and I just couldn't focus on doing outside shows and things. But I did a lot within my A-levels, which it kind of, ranged from going to see shows for your exams and doing plays that already existed to doing devised pieces. But I did quite a lot for that.
Okay. And any particular kind of changes from the GCSE approach? Sounds like it was more free.
It was, yeah. I enjoyed a lot more doing devised things. My mum and dad after that thought I was going to be a screenwriter because I started to, within the A-level module, we had to do devised pieces, and I really enjoyed doing creating characters and creating my own stories and taking... I created a piece about Ned Kelly, the Australian, the Irish immigrant in Australia, the prisoners in Australia. Yeah. And I think there was like a poem or something, and I was like, I'm going to do this poem. And then I saw the film with Heath Ledger, and I was like, yes. So I did a whole play based around Ned Kelly, and it was great, and I loved it.
Nice.
So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed being able to create things myself and not just go, here's a GCSE play text, I'm this character, do it.
Okay. And you got your A, which you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your attendance increased. Doesn't sound like it was perfect. It sounds like you were still missing some
It was
stuff.
not perfect. Because then also in A-level and you're learning how to drive, and so by the time I had my car I was like, I could just go home.
Yep.
It'd get to that afternoon point and you'd have a free lesson after lunch, and then you'd have a lesson after that, so I'd be like, I've now got like 2.5 hours free for an hour at the end of the day. I could just drive home and... Yeah.
So when I did A-levels, we had to do... I actually did 4 A-levels, but then dropped one halfway through the second year. And so I did 3 in the end.
Yeah.
And the other thing they made us do was citizenship, which was first thing on a Monday morning. So they had an assembly like for all the A-levels, and then citizenship on a Monday morning, and then I had nothing to Tuesday, and I got a 0.5 attendance record for the entire citizenship thing.
I wonder how many lessons that is.
Yeah.
Within the year.
Yeah.
0.5%.
Yeah. I don't know how many I attended, but it wasn't many.
First one.
Sorry?
From the sounds of it, the first one.
Yeah, maybe.
Literally, the only time I ever went to that assembly was when I'd stayed over at people's houses from a dirty weekend and was like,
you had to go because they were like...
I'm still up, I'm buzzing, I might as well just go sit there. At least it's warm.
Oh, brilliant.
Can't go home yet. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so enough about me. Yeah, so uni. I assume there's a university in... I know there's a university actually, because you mentioned about you didn't have a gap year.
No, I didn't have a gap year.
Not in the podcast, before the podcast.
Yeah, I didn't have a gap year. I went straight to uni.
Because of fees.
Because of fees, yeah. Because if I was going to take a gap year, and if I'd have taken it, I would have entered uni at the year when you were paying... I think it's gone up to £9,000 a year.
Yeah, bloody Nick Clegg with his lies.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, I wanted to not be paying that much, so I didn't have the gap year, and I think it was £3,000 a year. And I did drama, joined with film studies.
Cool. Anything coming out of that? I did drama.
I did drama. I'm an actor. I don't know. What do you want?
What was interesting? What did you learn? What did you do? As an actor,
do you know what I did? I actually did a lot of backstage stuff. I did a lot of theatre management in that, because I'd never had the chance before. Like through school and college and things, it is mainly focused on performance, and then you get to uni and you have a whole theatre to play with. And there's every single department, and so you've got the stage management, and you've got costume and sound, lighting, set, and so suddenly you can do any of these things. So I really, really enjoyed doing stage management. So I kind of stopped doing as much. I did performance within the required modules, but then in the shows we would put on for paying audiences at the uni, I did mostly stage management for that, because it was good fun. You got to work the flies and stuff. It was great.
How... Yeah, so you didn't do screen at all at A-level? Was it at uni?
In terms of performance? Or?
In terms of film? In terms of
I did
acting in film?
I did...
Because you did film studies?
Yeah, I did film studies, which... Do you know what? I don't remember if we had to film anything or not. I don't think we did have to film anything at A-level. No, I don't think I did any screen performance till I got to uni.
Okay.
And then during uni, I was basically, when I was at uni, I knew I wanted to do acting, but I wanted to try and start doing things that it would be harder to have the opportunity to do after I'd left. So like the stage management side of things, I knew I didn't want to do it as a career, but it was good fun and it was good experience. So I thought if I do it whilst I'm at uni, then I know what I'm doing with it, just in case, and I know how theatres work and things. And so in the same respect, I was doing film at uni, and so we had to make films, and part of it was they had a studio at the uni, and so you did live, quotation marks, live performances of chat shows and stuff like that, and then you also did making your own film. And alongside that was when I started to think about trying to do stuff outside of uni for the screen experience. I kind of wanted it so that when I got out of uni, I had something to work with. So I started to get extra work, which wasn't, it's not acting as such, but it meant that I started to go to professional film sets and things like that. So I did Fresh Meat, which is interesting because I went back and did the next series as locations. But that was the very first thing that I ever had a professional experience of, was being an extra in Fresh Meat.
And how was that? How were you treated?
I mean, extra. There was a lot of us. It was a nightclub scene, and I mean, it took all day. I was there.
Can you see yourself?
Yes, I can. It's not very clear, but I've screenshotted it and done a big circle around where I am, an arrow.
This is my ear.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off there. You said it was a long day.
It was a really long day, yeah. At the time, I was so proud of it because I was like, look at me on screen in a TV show. It was a really long day. I got there about 5:30 in the morning, and I think I didn't leave till 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. And we were all dressed up in, going out nightclubby clothes, and we were just in this nightclub all day. And I was in one spot of the nightclub, and then because they were doing a different shot and they needed to fill a different space, they would like move over here and then walk across here and then dance over here, and it was really interesting though. And obviously being near professional actors, going, oh, look, it's them and they're there, and just seeing professional directors and camera operators and stuff, it was a really good experience.
And did that transfer over much into when you started? Because you've done it for...
Yeah, I think that doing that was when I realised that I wanted to do more screen work, that it was really good fun and it was fast-paced, and I think theatre work is something that in my head it was like it will always be there and I can always go back to it, but I want to do more screen work and I want to get the experience from it and that kind of thing. So doing that was when I realised maybe I'm actually enjoying screen more than stage.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's because of, I guess, the progression of a character. I think I go and see West End shows and I look at them and I think that must be such hard work. I would love to do it, but you are doing the same character, having the same journey twice a day for months. Whereas with screen work, there is progression and there's change and there's every job is different. Even if it's a similar character or a similar set, it's always different and there's always progression. Whereas theatre work, I feel like it's not, you're doing the same thing. If you're doing a run of a show, you're doing that same thing again and again and again for however many days that run is.
Yeah, and supposing if you don't particularly love the character, or you suddenly, as you're performing, get the epiphany that actually you don't quite feel the character as much as you thought you did, you're kind of then stuck with it. You are, yeah. Do you hate any characters by the end? Are you like, I've played that character like 10 times, I do not want to return to it?
No, I've been quite lucky. I've had characters that I found quite hard to understand and to get into the mind space of, I guess, but I haven't had any that I've gone, I really don't like this character.
Okay, so mind space, because you've mentioned that, is that like your approach? Is it, what does my character think? I think you need, like,
you need to find some middle ground with your character. I mean, it's difficult because if you're playing a serial killer, you don't want to be like, hey, I understand you and I get it, but you need to find a middle ground of their emotions and how they're feeling and why they're doing what they're doing and what leads them to that. So yeah, you need to find something to connect with them on.
Okay. Right. So uni, and then you did your Fresh Meat extras work, and that was
during uni.
During uni, and that's when you started to feel you wanted to explore screen acting more.
Yeah.
What journey did that take then?
So
how did you do more?
That was my second year of uni, and then we got to third year, which was in the film side of it, you were making your own films. So in mine, I mean, it was a bag of shit, but It wasn't. Do you know what? It wasn't about. The problem is, I'm not a technical person. I'm a creative person, but I'm not a technical person. Yeah. And I maintain that the story was good.
What was it?
So it was basic. So I wanted to do something that was reasonably simple to film, because you do get a lot of student projects where they're aiming for the moon, and you're like, you literally can't do this. Mm-hmm. And I get it. You're in a safe space, and it's uni, and you can just try and do whatever you want, but to get decent marks on it, which was what I was aiming for, I wanted to do something that was technically quite simple. So it was all in my flat where I was living, and it was basically a bit of a post-apocalyptic thing where it was just a couple, it was just boyfriend and girlfriend, and it was basically massive solar flares had hit and basically made the earth uninhabitable, and it was a bit of an almost volcanic winter kind of thing, and you couldn't go outside without it dying, basically. Yeah. And
this doesn't sound simple. This sounds...
No, but it was all in the flat.
Okay.
So we didn't go outside. So that was the premise of it, and that's why we couldn't go outside the flat. And it was literally a 15-minute film of their life after, and it was interspersed with the before life, and it showed you, and it basically culminated in how this post-apocalyptic life was better for them. And it started off at the beginning with like happy music, and it showed you them before seemingly having a good life and having breakfast and getting ready and going to work, and then it would come back to those scenes throughout the film, and it would show you that actually when he picked up the post in the morning, it was a bill, they were being evicted, and they owed money, and that she'd been fired, and all of this, and it showed that the life before was actually more difficult and harder to live, and then it was interspersed with what they were doing now, and they were doing things like playing chess, and they were just it was easy, and it was just them focusing on their relationship, and it was really cute. It was just a cute film of how the post-apocalyptic life saved their relationship. And at the end, they opened the door, and it was a long shot from the back of the hallway with it bright outside, and they open the door, and they're holding hands, and they walk out, and it's like, yay! It's ended.
They're dying?
No, it's ended.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah.
Nice.
But it was cute. But in doing that, I realised that I wasn't a technical person.
Fair.
And I was like, I
can't. Did you act in it?
I did, yeah.
Did you direct it?
I did, yeah.
Did you write it?
I did.
Writing. Yeah.
There weren't many of us in our third year film.
When you watch it back, you're like, I gave myself all the good lines.
I did. I did. Well, there's only two of us, so I think we both had good lines.
Oh, okay, fair.
Just yours were better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You delivered exactly what you wanted, whereas he just would not listen to that.
But it just that really made me realise how much I hate cameras, and I hate lights, and I hate booms, and I hate all of it. Don't want anything to do with it.
Fair.
I can do writing, and I can create and act, but not that.
So do you write many scripts then?
I don't. I would really like to, but I think part of it is, as you know, finding the budget and the equipment and the cast and the crew and rewrites and all of that, and it's quite a big thing to just...
If you're trying to make them, but if you're just like, this is a script I could sell, just writing for the joy of writing a story.
I guess, yeah. But I think I always have a goal in mind. I'm always like, what am I doing it for? Maybe I shouldn't.
Maybe sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a few that I'm like, I'd probably never be able to make this, but I could try and sell it.
Yeah.
Good luck trying to sell it without an agent, though.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And good luck finding an agent for it.
Oh, really?
Agents want writing credits. Writing credits will only be delivered if you have an agent.
Oh, okay.
It's a real kind of circle.
Hence making your own things.
Yeah.
To get the writing credits.
Yeah, trying to... just going back to the post-apocalyptic, was there hot water?
No.
Okay, that's it, I'm done. Like, life isn't bad. Like, any post-apocalypse scenario, if the hot water's off, I'm done. Having a cold shower, I'm out. I'm just giving up. I'd be walking out in the sun, or if it's a zombie, I'm letting them bite me. Like, obviously they're getting evicted, so they're no hot water unless they're staying at a friend's house, but then they might have a shower, so as long as they had friends.
But the point was they couldn't go outside. They didn't know, like, they'd lost all contact. There was no radio contact. There was a safe space that was a number of miles away that they would have had to have got to. So if you could have Like, what we were going to do, which would have been really fun, and I didn't have time to do it, was one of my drama lecturers, he was so enthused at the fact I was making a film, and he was such an enthusiastic lecturer, and he loved Shakespeare, and he was great. And he really, really wanted to be in it. He desperately wanted to be in this film, and he was like, I could come in a radioactive hazard suit and knock on the door and be like, "Nah, come with me." And I really wanted to do it, but I just didn't have time.
Was he Douglas Renham from the IT?
He might have been, yeah. He might have been. Yeah.
No, but like you said before, they were getting evicted and jobs.
Yeah.
So, like, fine. That might lead to not having warm showers even before the sun and everything has imploded in solar flares. But like, as soon as the solar flares happen, if I'm in a house where there's no hot water, I'm like, well, what's the point? This is far worse than before. This is it. We're done, man. We're back to cave. Even cavemen washed. I'm out.
I mean, there was still. I guess there would still be water. I don't know, man. I was a student. I don't know if there would have been water. But it was more about how the everyday stresses in life
were relieved.
Yes, and how without them you're happier, even though you don't have hot water.
I'd find it more stressful not being clean.
Okay.
Can't go to the shop, buy some food.
Yeah, and so
Not
like
less stressful,
move
this.
on when you get fed up with this. But like, where are you going to the toilet? You see a bucket system. You can't open the window. It's too warm.
I never showed that. It wasn't important.
Where's the method acting?
Yeah, no.
Okay, no, but you watched it back, you're like, it's not you called it shit, but not really. Is it one of those you're really fond of because you know the journey you took making it?
I was really fond of it. I mean, I've forgotten a lot of it now, but I remember the story being really sweet, and I remember my lecturer complimenting me on everything apart from the act.
Recording again.
Yeah. So we didn't just like find the card was full. Missed the entire
I was talking
journey.
for over an hour before
I know.
you realised.
Lion taming.
Yeah, you're not going to hear about that now.
Stint in
We don't have time for it anymore.
No,
Yeah.
leaving.
So,
Those 3 years at Cirque du Soleil, they were incredible.
Broke my back.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just talk about post-uni.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
You graduated uni.
I did.
Can I do a quick summation?
Yes, of course you can, yeah.
Okay. Not that any of it was boring. It was a good story. So you graduated and you worked at House of Fraser, which you didn't like. You quit after 6 months.
It did,
which
yes.
Is a good amount to survive in retail.
Yes.
As someone who's worked.
My last day was New Year's Day.
Nice.
I can imagine why you would quit then.
Were you just like, it's New Year, I'm not doing this anymore? Did you walk out or did you actually...
No, I told them like I told them just before Christmas because I was like,
right.
fuck you.
You gave notice.
And then they were like, and then I was like, I'm not coming back after the Christmas period. Bye-bye.
Cool. And then your tutor guy who sounded a bit like Douglas Renham from the IT crowd.
Different one.
Yeah. Oh, different one. Was like, there, you know that famous football hooligan film ID from the 90s?
Yes.
They're making a sequel, ID 2.
Yes.
And they're looking for trainees. And you were like, I'm a trainee. I can be a trainee. Because graduates, because he was like, the students have too much work on. They might get distracted. But graduates, and so you became a location. No, looking at extras and stuff.
Yeah,
ADing.
I started in the ADing, yeah.
Yes, and you looked at football hooligans.
I did look at football hooligans and I sorted out all the extras, so if anyone does happen to listen who I told you could be an extra and then you couldn't, I'm very sorry. Because that did happen.
Did it?
It did. Because when I moved into locations, it got taken off me. They actually hired a second AD who knew what they were doing. And he just did what he wanted. And I was like, I've done all this work. And he was like, well... it's my work now. So, yeah.
Nice. So it's like, oh, I'm in charge. You may have told them this, but I've not. So,
so...
power play, egos.
Yeah.
Did you find that much?
What, that it was a very, egocentric place?
Yes.
Let
me explain. I've worked on television.
Yeah.
So I know how, like, different departments can argue or fall out or can be at the whim of a person in charge who isn't necessarily making rational so much as emotional decisions.
One thing that amazed me when I started working in film was that how all the different departments seem to battle against each other, and Sparks will want to put a light somewhere And cameras will be like, no, you can't put that there because we need a camera here. And Sparks will be like, well, we're not doing it then. We can't put that in. But then it still gets made. Yeah. Like, they will argue so much and be like, well, we want this and we want this. You can't do this. But then the film still gets made. They still do all the things they were going to do, and it gets made. And I just don't understand to this day that there's so much arguing and so many like difficult people, but it still gets done.
Have you ever seen Living in Oblivion?
No.
Oh, it's a great film. I've forgotten the director's name. It's his experience making like a big feature film.
Yeah.
And it's Steve Buscemi is like the director. It started as a short, and there's just a bit where like he's like, we have to move the light there, and then the camera guy like, well, if you do that, I have to change the frame.
Yeah.
He's like, which do you want, the shot or the light? And he's just like, for some reason, I thought I could have both.
Genuinely.
So yeah, but that led you to finish the wrap up of what this poor audience has missed and won't get to hear. That led to you being headhunted.
Yes.
Yes. And we're there.
Yeah. So ID. It was 6 day weeks. It was I think it was just over a month that shoot, and then I think it was another like 4 weeks of pre-production. So it was like a full feature film shoot. And as trainees, we weren't getting paid. Which I'm not sure if that's all right. I don't know.
Nick Clegg.
But so I was headhunted, and I left the end of that film. So I left before we'd finished shooting, and went on to Fresh Meat, season 4.
Was it? I assume it was very different. What you saw as an extra to what you saw when you were working. Yeah.
Extras are scum. They're not. Apart from when they try and push in front of you in the dinner queue, and you're like, you've been sat all day doing nothing, and I've been working. You do not get the last piece of crumble.
Did that happen?
Sit down. Not to me, but it's amazing how angry people on a crew will get if extras get in front of them in the dinner line. They'll be quite angry about it.
Yeah. One of the things is crew should eat first.
Crew eat first because they still work through lunch.
Stars get their own food.
Yeah.
Crew eats first, then extras.
Yeah.
It's generally like the big rule with films.
I think it's just crew. When I did locations, I did a lot of set watching, so I would stay through lunch at the set, and then everybody would go back to unit base, and I would be there on my own as security because I'm 5'2" and I'm terrifying. So I'd get my lunch brought to me, which was great. But crew will often work through lunch, and if they don't get to eat first, then you're holding them back by however 20 minutes is a long time if you're having to pack your stuff up, move it around, whilst extras just sit there and read their book.
So were you keeping the acting going at this time, or had you moved really behind the scenes?
No, I'd moved behind the scenes. I knew I still wanted to do acting, but once I got onto Fresh Meat, I was kind of like, this is I was still only 21, and I was, less than a year out of uni, and I was like, this is good, this is the right direction. I'm on a big budget Channel 4 TV show that has named people in it, all the different departments that you would expect from higher budget things, and I was like, I'm gonna do this for a while. And then I did ID, and I did Fresh Meat, and I did some shorts after that, where I did more kind of runner work. I did some dailies on stuff, and then towards the end of the year, I did another film in Leeds, and it was that film that made me go, nah, I'm not doing this anymore.
Okay, I know, because you talked about you don't want to name names and draw people in, so in as vague terms as it needs to be, what?
What was your role?
I was still doing locations.
Okay.
That was when I said I'm not doing locations anymore. So if you don't get the right team, it can be a very hard job. And if you're doing long days, and if you're there at 5:30 in the morning and you're leaving at 9:30 at night or whatever, and you're doing it for weeks on end, and you don't have the people around you in the supportive way that they should be, it can be very, very difficult. And it was incredibly difficult. There was some sexism and some more of just very general, I guess, almost bullying kind of stuff. Okay. Yeah.
I've worked in TV. I'm aware of what can...
Yeah.
Yeah. maybe after recording I might ask you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the experiences there were not pleasant.
No. And it really made clear to me that if you are on a crew and it's a good crew, I mean, most of the people on that film were great. They were. Most people in crews are generally fantastic, but you do get an odd few.
But it doesn't take much
for
someone pulling in a different direction to completely...
Yeah. So it made very clear to me that if I was on a film or on a show and I suddenly had a bad person working alongside me or managing me or whatever, then that film would be incredibly difficult for me to continue with, and I would be put in a very difficult position, in a very hard and stressful position, and for a job that I knew I kind of didn't want to do forever, I just thought it's not worth it and I don't want to do this.
Okay. So did you make it to the end of that?
I did, yeah. There was one day, I cried a lot on that set. I would be like, I just have to nip off set for a minute, and they'd be like, okay. And then I'd go and bawl my eyes out and come back and be like, I'm working again. And there was one day...
Sorry, before you go, you don't strike me as a crier. Is
this
because you were young and...
No, it was just because it was so difficult.
And
so difficult.
It seems very intense as well.
And locations as well, it's a very lonely department, I would say. There's a lot of other departments, things like cameras and grips and sparks, whatever, where there'll be a number of you on set at a time. And locations isn't... there will be... I mean, there'll either be a manager and an assistant, and then obviously as the budget gets bigger, you might have an assistant manager and then more assistants and people doing dailies. But there wasn't that many of us, and there would only be one of us on set at a time. Unless it was a particularly big day or something very big happening, and because we'd have more than one location in a day, you would generally, like, I would be at one location and one of my managers would have to be at another location to open it for when the crew came, and then I'd have to close down the first location, blah, 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 that kind of thing. So there'd only be one of you. So those stresses just of that job in general are kind of doubled when it's just you and you're a tiny 21-year-old girl with a film crew shouting at you. And you're like, I don't know. So yeah, it can be quite stressful.
Did the project come out? All right?
It's not out yet.
It's not out yet. It's years after.
No, yet. I think that's for reasons unrelated to my reasons for not liking that job. I did speak to someone who I'm still in touch with from that film, and I think he said that there's been problems with the actor contracts. I have no idea, but it's still not out.
Okay. The smug smile across the cup to the side of their head. Okay, so on the back of that, you make a return to the acting?
Yeah.
Do you go theatre or film?
Film.
Okay.
Film. I think as well, just having that year of doing it and being in film and around film and just being like, I really want to do that. And just seeing actors and the things they got to do and like the stories that they tell, and I was just like, I really, really want to do this. So yeah, and after that year as well, I'd made... Because I was still living at home with my mum and dad because it was just easier to commute to various jobs. And like... So Fresh and Meat was in Manchester, so we did have accommodation there. That last film I did of that year was in Leeds, so I commuted every day for that. So I'd made some money, and I was still living at home, so it was a good point for me to say I can really try and push for acting stuff, like student films, unpaid, low paid, and try and start building up a CV.
Did you go through the stage of saying yes to things that in hindsight you're like, I didn't get anything from that project?
Yeah, but I also didn't know.
Yeah. No.
So, yeah.
So many actors, I think it's because of the level Tom and I are at, it's incredibly low, maybe one rung up from, say, the student, where so many actors have those stories of early on, I said yes, and then you come out and there's no footage, or the footage is unusable,
Yeah.
What did I do this for?
I think it was strange as well, because I came into acting from a crew perspective of seeing like big budget productions and how they ran, and kind of expecting it.
This is what terrifies me if you work with us.
No, see, I'm not like that now. And there was a lot of times when I've been on student things, I've really had to bite my tongue, not in a nasty way, but to be helpful. I've done things where part of my job as locations is being shouted at by the sound guys because they can hear a sound and they don't know what the sound is, and you need to get rid of that sound. And a lot of the time it'll be building work from a few streets away. If you're in a pub or whatever, it's the fridges. It's aircon. It'd be a hand dryer in a bathroom somewhere. So for various student things, and they have these problems and they don't know. And it was a very fine line between me being an actor and also being like, I can help, and really having to be like, I shouldn't do that because I'm not here to do that job.
Cool. You should do that with us.
Okay.
If it's going to make it better, you should say, like, what about it if you thought about this?
Yeah.
I would say you should do that with students as well, because the likelihood of a student film being good is much lower, generally. So if you can make their stuff better in any way, so that your footage is better.
I suppose there is as well. It's like attitude about it and what they want from you as an actor. If I start chipping in every 2 minutes and being like, oh, I'm that, and no, I'm that, they might be like, Emily, just shut up. Just sit there. Just get off set.
Yeah. But so you're doing the students, do films in general, the shorts, etc., etc. Any good stories or bad stories from that period?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so, to be honest, which is strange because you would think that there would be.
Was it a happy time, like returning to acting? Did it
Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. And I think as well, student films have a kind of freedom that maybe other short films and other films in general don't have. And so they're really enjoyable to do because you have there's a lot of horror films and things, but there's a lot of different plots and different characters that maybe in the real world you wouldn't get cast as.
Yeah.
Because there are, you do get typecast and things, and so in student films you have an opportunity to be playing loads of different things that's maybe outside of your wheelhouse and different scenarios and stuff, and so that's really fun.
Do you find you get typecast? Or you get specific offers and things? New York prostitutes?
No, I think through auditions that I've had with my previous agent, you do. With more, I guess, professional things, you do. But with lower budget stuff and indie stuff, you don't.
What's your typecast then with the higher budget stuff? What is it you find you get put forward for or call back to?
I still get a lot of maybe like late teen stuff. Young stuff that's maybe more innocent and young, which is strange because I'm 25. But I mean, I don't mind if I. But then at the same time, I've had they weren't professional, but I have had a few where I've played someone's wife or whatever, and I'm like, this is weird because yesterday I was an 18-year-old and now I'm this man's wife. But
it's when it goes to mother that you need to be worried.
Yeah, there's been like, I mean, commercials generally are like happy, energetic things, but like the happy, energetic teenager or girlfriend or.
What commercials have you done? Have you seen any?
I did. There was a general one that wasn't really characters. It wasn't really. It was more just a crowd of people, and it was for Grosvenor Casino, which was filmed in Leeds, and it was people playing poker and people at the roulette table, and they just moved you and be like, we're going to do some shots of the restaurant, so we'll sit you here, and then we're going to do roulette, so we'll have you three come over to the roulette table, be really happy that you're playing roulette and that kind of stuff. I did another one, I don't know if it's out yet. It was for the University of Derby, but not filmed by the University of Derby, if that makes sense, and it was a TV commercial for their clearing, like semester, like September clearing thing, and I was a climatology student.
Okay. Do you have to say it like that when you say it?
Paleoclimatology, I think that's what it is. I might be saying that wrong.
Right.
And that was basically me and another guy with a compass and a chart and things, looking at mountains and writing things down. I don't know. Yeah.
That's a good life.
And then there's been another for a restaurant. I think that was more local. That was for like a regional channel for, I think, a fish and chip restaurant, and that was literally just like, I'm sitting there eating my fish and chips.
That also sounds like a good life.
Yeah, because you get to eat the food.
Was it warm or cold? The food.
You see, it was cold by the end of filming. Yeah. I mean, you got to eat a bit of it through filming, but obviously not very much, because otherwise your plate in every shot will be... yeah, so I ate a few chips and they were really... It was a really good fish and chip restaurant.
Nice. You can name them, I think, if it's positive.
I don't remember the name of it.
Okay, so away from the commercials, back to the shorts. You were saying about weird and wonderful, and you get more freedom to do things. What are some of the weirder roles or stuff you've been able to go, yeah, I'm going to give that a go?
I did a really fun experimental student film. But it was all shot in a studio. It's won a couple of awards, actually, for different festivals. And I like experimental because it's literally just so out there. You just do whatever. Like, it doesn't have to mean anything, and it's an interpretation. And it was me and another girl, and there was a lot of movement. I know it was like red and blue filters, and it was just a lot of movement. And then in the end of it, she went to push me. Oh, I had really cool makeup on as well. It was like a swan. It was like black swan, and she had like Harlequin clown makeup. And at the end of it, she kind of did a push, and she didn't actually push me. It was more of a just movement, and I had to fall backwards. And she'd cracked my skull open, and I fell to the floor, and my skull cracked open. She just started eating my brains. Nice. I was like eating all the goo, and I was just dead on the floor. And that was really fun, getting to die. I've died a lot.
You've died a few times.
I've died a lot, yeah.
Shot in the head in Cerulean.
I had my head cracked open in that. In Second Chance, I jumped off a cliff. Yeah, did that. What else have I done? I'll have to get my CV
Sean
out.
Bean of low budget films.
I am, yeah. I die and everything, yeah. I enjoy it though. I enjoy a good death.
Is it fun dying?
It's really fun.
Is it?
Yeah.
Go on. Do you ever have the urge to like, and then say like a last line like, remember me?
No, I mean, do you know what I'd love to? I haven't quite got there yet, because I think it depends on the crew you're working with and how many takes you can realistically do.
Yeah.
Because if it's a death scene where it's like you're about to be covered in blood or whatever, and you can realistically maybe only do it a couple of times, I don't want to wreck it. And for the sake of comedy and for everyone to be like, fuck's sake, Emily, was it worth it?
We have to clean you up and
yeah, pretty much. It was a really fun one I got to do for something called Project Horror, and it was like a supernatural being that literally just ripped my stomach open, and one shot was it ripping my stomach open, and then we cut it, and then the next shot, obviously I cut all my shirt up and had like the latex wounds and literally had intestines in my hands, like covered in blood, and I was just sat on the floor like coughing up blood, and I just remember having to like not drink, obviously, just have in my mouth like this weird syrupy like blood mixture, and just have to wait with it in my mouth, but obviously not appear as if I had anything in my mouth, and wait for the cue and then just cough it all up. And I think I did that about 4 or 5 times, and I was just covered in blood.
Was that the one where you got told you had like the third best blood cough?
Yes, third best blood cough.
Nice.
Because the trick is to actually cough.
Right.
And not... I think a lot of people try and almost vomit it up as if it's falling out of their mouth, but if you put your head back and you just cough, it just splurts everywhere, and it's great.
Okay, what are some of the worst and some of the best kind of roles that you've had? Or you've enjoyed and hated kind of thing? You obviously don't have any names or anything, eh?
It's really difficult not naming names, isn't it? Because then you're like, well, I did this thing and it was like this, and this happened, and you're like, yeah, we know what that was.
Or you can do it in general terms. You say, oh, I did films and it just wasn't well organised.
Yeah, I think genuinely that is the worst bit. I think, again, it was more with student films, but there's a habit for the acting to be an afterthought almost, and you get a lot of people who... with low budget stuff as well, where people will be multitasking, so it's not just that we have set roles and we do set things. So when the acting comes as an afterthought, and it's like they spend hours setting up the camera and the lights, and then there's just nothing for the character kind of thing, and there's been no kind of this is what your character's like, or I mean, I don't have to have rehearsals are helpful, but with screen stuff, you know. But there's just been no thought to the character. You've been given a script and you say the lines, and then it's a bit like, is that... And you don't know sometimes if it's a jarring performance, if it's right, and they're just like, yeah, it's fine, it looks nice on camera. And then you watch it back and you're like, God, that was shit.
Yeah.
You're like, I was so shit, no one told me.
Yeah.
So it's more that kind of stuff that's been difficult. I haven't said I have any characters that I've hated. There are some that are difficult, and the difficult ones I find are like 2-dimensional characters that are literally like, I am an angry character, and we don't know why. And I like the ones that have reasons. And I know sometimes it's you have to figure that out for yourself, but it is helpful if the person who's written it or whatever has a bit of a feeling about why that character's like the way they are. 2-dimensional characters are quite hard for me to do.
Okay. And thinking back to a convo we had way back, so casting calls would be helpful if you did it in your bikini, I believe.
Yeah, that was a really good casting call to... you don't have to, but it would really give a fuller appreciation for the character if you did it in your bikini, because it would mean that you understand what this character's feeling and what they're about.
And do you find being female of a younger age, and you're right, I guess, attractive, I guess.
Thanks.
Do you find that like some approaches are kind of maybe not as professional as they should be, or
yes,
an inappropriateness at times?
But I think as well it comes from experience of reading a casting call and going, I'm not even applying to it because I know. So I don't really get a lot of them. I've had a couple out of the blue and things. I know there was one guy, I don't remember his name, and I think he approached me. There was an actor group on Facebook, and there was a number of other girls, and it would be like, come to my house for this audition, for this, and it was just so creepy.
Yeah,
and like, he got angry.
It's just weird.
Angry if you asked to bring someone with you.
Right.
It was like, why you're being unprofessional if you want to, and you're like, well, no, because it's your own home, and you seem weird. And if you're making me come on my own, that's immediately alarm bells ringing. So I think it comes from experience of learning to just read casting calls, and it's as simple as things that, like, if they're not written correctly, and if they're all spelt wrong and things, and you're like, well, who's put this casting call out? So it's just getting a feel for maybe what not to apply for, or character descriptions, and not putting yourself out for them.
Okay. So the time's moving on, so I'm moving subjects around things. So you're a dubbing actor, have been for a while.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Not bad, peaks and troughs, I think.
Yeah.
As with most actors, unless you're, really famous. See, that's one thing that I do. I think that screen can be harder than stage, because if you have a stage job, and it might last, you've got the rehearsal period and then the run of the show, and it will last for a number of weeks, if not months, and you have that kind of consistent income and that consistent work, whereas screen productions will be like, if it's a short film, it could be a couple of days. If it's a feature film, even then, it's going to be like max a month or whatever currently. So yeah, it's difficult, but I enjoy doing screen stuff more, I think. And it was the same thing as one of the reasons I didn't want to keep doing crew work, is because if you end up on a job and it's like 3 months long, and that's 3 months out of it that you could have been applying for auditions and you could have been doing other work. So
do you find you have doubts? Do you have moments where it's like, maybe this isn't for me, or maybe this isn't?
Yeah, I think everyone does. And I don't think it's necessarily that you doubt yourself and what you can do. It's literally just the industry and how hard it is to just keep pushing through it. Because you will get the difficult thing about it is that you might not have a job for a couple of months or whatever, and then you get a job and it'll be the next day or the next week, and you're like, oh, I'm working. But obviously 2 months prior to that, you don't know you're going to have that job. And if someone told you and they went, oh, well, in a month's time you'll be working on this, you'd be like, yeah, cool. But that month and that headspace of going, no one wants me for anything, I can't get anything, it can be really difficult.
Okay. And how do you... it sounds like you have a supportive family, and your boyfriend is supportive.
Yeah, so my boyfriend also does acting, and my housemate is an actor, and our friends are actors. So yeah, it's quite a
Do you live
in
an acting commune?
Yeah, it's a gated community. If you're not on Spotlight, you can't come in. So yeah, I think everybody is understanding, and everybody, knows how it goes. So yeah, it is a supportive world, I think, generally.
Okay. Where do you have a kind of a dream role or like an aspiration of I want theatre or film to be like I'd like this kind of thing to.
I want to be a final girl.
A final.
And like a horror film. I spent a lot of my uni.
Okay.
spent a lot of my uni doing horror.
Yeah.
And I wrote a lot of essays and things on like gender and things like that. And I watched a lot of classic horror, and so like Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween and Black Christmas and all that kind of stuff. And I love final girls. I love them, and I want to do that.
The one who survives.
The one who survives.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
So like your Nancy, your Laurie, Sydney.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to do that.
The one who goes into the sequel.
Yeah.
Not always.
I'd love to have been the final girl in kind of like the Scream setup, the Scream series and the Scream films. Yeah.
Sydney.
Yeah, because they're a bit, with the rules of horror that you have, and they tell you the rules of horror, and then they break the rules of horror, and I love it, and I'm like, yes, I want to do that. And how she's not a virgin, but she still survives.
Yeah.
And
I love Scream because it's a deconstruction of the genre while also being quite a good addition to
yeah,
the genre.
it is. It really is.
Have you seen the TV series?
I have.
Same thing. It's
Yeah.
a deconstruction of a TV series, a horror TV series, while also being, at first season at least, quite a good.
I love it. My boyfriend was sat watching it, and I think it's a moment where they're in the classroom and Noah is, literally giving the rules of horror and being like, well, we can't do this because it would never work as a TV series because, you have the crazy party at the house and then everybody slaughtered through the night, and then by the time the sun comes up, the survivor girls being taken away in an ambulance. It just wouldn't work. And then they go on and do the series. I was just like, yay! Yeah. And I love it. I want to do that.
Yeah,
I think that was the scene that you showed me to get me to watch it.
Was
it?
Watch it? Yeah, it's like, watch this, you'll want to watch it.
Because I was pointing out,
you wouldn't do it as a TV series, you'd be mad to do it.
Yeah, but they did it and it worked.
Have you seen Get Out?
Yes.
Get Out it's not quite a deconstruction, but it has his best friend, the guy who's always on the phone ringing him, who's constantly saying the tropes about horror films. It's like, no, you get out. No, you don't do this at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, spoilers? Because he turns up at the end, doesn't he?
In one ending.
Oh, is there another ending?
There's an alternate ending.
What's the alternate ending?
It's a different, spoilers, it's a different police officer who then guns him down for being black.
Oh.
Yeah. Because Get Out is that film.
He's not even a police officer, is he? He's like TSA.
TSA, motherfucker. Right, purely because I think you have like 5 minutes left and then you wanted to be out. So we're going to have to wrap this one here. Thank you very much for
Thanks.
coming in.
It's been great.
Yeah, thank you. It was really good.
Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Part 2.
When you're all famous, have
yeah,
more
yeah,
experience. So you
and then I'll be like, remember all that stuff I said? Delete it.
Yeah, right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Bye.
Say bye.
Bye. Sorry.